So thank you everyone for attending this meeting on Ivory. So Ivory is our next release that we'll be releasing in June. We'll talk a little bit about sort of recent updates, any other news that if you haven't been actively following the community, you may have missed, and we'll share those as well as a brief overview of the mobile app, the new mobile app that is, as well as a quick overview and demonstration of some features in the upcoming release, and then finish with a roadmap with the time we have left there. So I'm going to try to move fairly quickly. There's a lot we want to cover today and what's been going on the last several months here at Serviceaide. So a couple things when I do talk about dates, and especially in the roadmap items, they are not commitments, they're targets, and just giving you a perspective of what we have today. So just a heads up on that. So as far as recent updates, I think hopefully everybody on this call knows that we did move out of the CA support system onto Serviceaide support systems. So if you do have questions, technical issues, if you found a defect, you can reach out to the support team at support@serviceaide.com through email. You can also use chat, which has been a really growing channel. So if you go to support.serviceaide.com, you can chat directly with the support team. Even if you don't have a support account created, you can chat with them and have one created for you. And all of these links and everything related to support are available on the Serviceaide.com website. So if you go to Serviceaide.com and navigate to the support page, you'll see it there. We talked about the community, the documentation, how to get assistance from technical support as well. We've had a lot of good feedback on chat. I think that's a really hot channel, especially if you have simple questions or just asking for an update on a ticket. You can, access and work with someone immediately and not, just post an update and wait for a response. Okay. Next on the notification system. So we did roll out a brand new notification system, and this is the system that we use when we're announcing patches or new releases of their timelines and any disruption to service. So if there is an outage or any sort of disruption to service, this is the service we use to communicate with you. The nice thing about this service is it can use email or SMS messages to notify you. So if you have not signed up for this new system through Serviceaide, so if you signed up previously through the CA system, it does require a new registration. You should have an email in your inbox for those of you who have previously been contacts with either CA or Serviceaide. You should have an email in your inbox from Ken Loftman. If you don't, or if you can't find that email, please don't hesitate to reach out to the support team, and they can get you the right URL to register. And the way that the registration works is per customer, you can have 5 different contacts and set that up so you can have your team notified. And if you have a distribution list internally, that makes it even easier, so you can maintain those contacts on your side and not have to go back to our system each time maybe someone moves onto your team or something like that. So I do encourage you to use that, especially as we roll out new releases the rest of the calendar year. Next, under the wiki. So we did move to a new wiki site. The CA wiki is still there, but we certainly encourage you to use the new wiki, which is serviceaide.atlassian.com. You can also access that from the serviceaide.com website as well. So what we did in the wiki is we really tried to clean up a lot of the content, reorganize and restructure it. So while a lot of the content is essentially the same, we have changed the structure a bit and also improved and added a few pages. The biggest additions, obviously, there's a page on the new mobile app, and there's a new getting started guide, which is really just if you're a brand new customer, it's a really great way to sort of move through and understand how to get started, where to find help, and everything you need to know sort of as you get started with cloud service management. So I encourage you to take a look at that, and over the next couple of weeks, you'll see changes to this wiki as we update the release, put the new release notes, publish fixes, known issues, all of that on this wiki as well. Okay. The last thing is on the community migration. So this is taking longer than we had anticipated. It is a matter of trying to get this new community structured in the right way, get all of the data moved from the old community to this community, as well as enabling things like single sign-on to make it a better experience between our support system and the community. So we're hoping to roll this out in the coming months, so more to come on this, but for the time being, we'll stay in the CA community and are working with CA to transition off that as soon as we can. Okay. Also, we do have a new YouTube channel. So this has all the videos that we previously had on the Educate YouTube channel with CA. We've moved those. We've had several new videos. Any of the webcasts we've hosted, webinars we've hosted, are all put there as well. So it's definitely a great place to go and see updates. And if you have specific questions, things like AD Sync, there's some good videos on that, as well as general configuration, getting started videos. Also on YouTube, we are trying to be more social, I guess you'd say, and put information about our webcasts, customer success stories, any announcements we have. We'll put them on our Twitter page as well. We have an Instagram page as well and a Facebook page, but they're not very active. It's really YouTube and Twitter are the primary channels that we think are useful for customers and prospects. Okay. And last but certainly not least is the new Analyst mobile app. So this is a new mobile app that we launched in March, really to focus 100% on analyst use cases. So this is where an analyst can manage their queue, can update tickets, can take actions, and hopefully resolve tickets, without being on a full web app on a desktop or laptop, something like that. So the mobile app is available on iOS and Android. It's available in the Apple App Store as well as Google Play. And right now, we're trying to update this app multiple times a month to add new small features one at a time, as well as bug fixes to really enhance this functionality. So what I thought I'd do is just give a very brief demo, because I know there's still many of our customers who are still downloading and playing around with the app and trying to get a sense of it as they get used to that. So I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. And I'm going to be showing, my actual phone as I do this. All right. So this is my iPhone, and this is, that's the problem when you're showing your own phone, but this is my iPhone, and here is, logged into my trial instance of Cloud Service Management and my queue of work as an analyst. So most importantly, the goal of this interface is for me to see my queue of tickets that are signed to me or in my queue and be able to interact with them. So if you notice on the top left, I'm going to click on the filters. You can't see where my fingers are tapping, but I clicked on the top left, and you see the set of default filters so that everyone's going to see these default filters, which is based on what exactly you're going to see in the web interface with those badges at the top. But I also have my own filters, and these are filters that I created on the web and I saved. So I have my assigned to me, so these are things that I have ownership of, pending only, and unassigned incidents. So I'm going to tap on unassigned incidents. And then my queue will update based on that. So any of the filters I create on the web are available in the mobile app. So that's a great way to focus my work and focus on what I need to look at while I'm on the go. You can also see I can expand and see a little bit more information in the list view on a ticket. And then I also have 3 icons on the bottom of each ticket. So let me just go back to my ticket so you see more here. And so I bring up those tickets. I have these 3 icons here. So one is, basically adding a comment or a work log item to the ticket, and I can toggle on, client viewable or not. And then I also can attach an image. So either I can take a picture directly or use my gallery. And then I can also send a notification, so communication, and build out that pulled communication here and send that off. Then I can also drill down into a ticket, and the color coding here, and I should go back to the ticket list. So you see this IC, IP, those are incident change, incident problem. So, an icon indicating what type of ticket that is. In the red coloring is for an SLA violation, and you'll see yellow ones as well as ones that don't have color that are green that are fine within the violation cycle, and then ones without a color coding don't have an SLA attached. So if I go into this red ticket, I can toggle between my requester and requested for user, as well as I have the ability to expand different sections here, and then scroll down and see all the detail on this ticket as well. And you can see the activity history here. Okay. But most importantly, the menu item on the top right there really gives me all of my workflow. And that's really the goal, is to give the analysts what they need to progress this ticket and resolve it from a mobile device and not require them to be on a laptop. So we've heard great feedback from teams that have field technicians or universities that have a large campus where people need to be on the go and they need to make a quick update and they don't want to have to pull out their laptop or go to someone's desk to do that update. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing here and jump back into the presentation. Okay. Okay. So that's the latest mobile app. We will be rolling out some additional features in a few days, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay. So as far as the Ivory release overview, this is a smaller release because we were so focused on the migration and moving all the clients to the new data center, and there's a lot of benefits to that, and I'll talk about a few of them in the upcoming slides. But I'll talk specifically about new items coming in the Ivory release and then onto the roadmap. So as far as the mobile app, hopefully by the end of this week is what we're targeting. You have to get all these approvals from the different app stores, Apple and Google. But we are targeting releasing role-based views on the mobile app. So meaning if you are a particular user in a particular role, when you log into that mobile app, if there's different sections or fields of a ticket that are hidden or not available to you, you're going to have the same experience in the web as you would in mobile. So we'll be rolling that out as well as several other bug fixes. In June, the screenshots here are early, really mock-ups of what we're doing for the June release. And this is all around self-service. So today we have two mobile apps. We have one that's focused on self-service, and we have one focused on analyst use cases. The goal is to retire that self-service only mobile app in several months and replace it with this single new, what is now an analyst-only mobile app to take all the use cases of analysts and self-service users. So the first things we'll be building and releasing in June are outstanding items workspace, so allowing you to do approvals, the ability to view existing tickets as a self-service user, open new tickets and use the catalog, which is what the screenshot is here, and then also a new navigation menu to support both self-service users and analysts. So you can see sort of an early mock-up on the top left there of the main navigation menu. So those are the things we're working on right now. It won't be this look and feel when we're done with it. We're working with our UX team to really enhance this and make it very mobile-centric. Okay, so that's what we're working on short-term for the mobile app. Next, one of the biggest features of the Ivory release coming in June is an integration with a tool called BombGar. So BombGar is a remote control and screen sharing tool, really the #1 vendor for IT service management tools and IT service management use cases. So the goal is really to ultimately resolve a ticket faster. And oftentimes, if you see what's going on an end user's machine, you can solve their problem faster than going back and forth over the phone. So we want to be able to, with this use case, launch directly into a remote support session or a screen sharing session directly from a ticket, and that goes from the analyst's perspective. So an analyst saying, hey, I want to trigger a remote sharing session with the end user, and they get an email with a link, and they can click on that link and get into that session very quickly. Or from the end user perspective, where the end user could go in and say, you know what, I want to chat with someone now, on this ticket, so they can go to that specific ticket, click a chat button, and that opens up a session with BombGar, and then they're asked for permission if they want to have the agent or the analyst take control of their screen. one of the really nice benefits of this integration is that everything that happens in that chat session and everything that happens in that screen sharing session is recorded and put into the activity history of a ticket. So if it's just a chat session, after the chat session is concluded, it's saved to the ticket and the activity history, and they're seeing, exactly the back and forth with the technician and the end user, and that's helpful, for the next person that picks up that ticket. The session actually of taking control of someone's machine, that screen sharing, a video recording is made of that session, and again, linked to the activity history, and that's a huge benefit as you think about if this ticket is resolved by the analyst and then a week later something similar happens on another ticket, you can go back in and see a video recording, and that's very powerful to hopefully use as knowledge going forward. Okay. So we'll show a demo of that in just a minute. As part of this integration, we have a new screen added to the tool under Manage Tools, Administration Features, an Integrations Workspace. So the Integrations Workspace, with this release, you'll only see BOMGAR in here, and you'll see the parameters to set up this integration on the cloud service management side, and essentially turn it on or off, and also test it once those parameters are in. Once you set up the integration, then different buttons will pop up on tickets related to starting that session with the customer. So lots more integrations planned for this year. I'll go into that a little bit on the roadmap, but you'll see a lot more coming up in this interface. And the goal really for us as a vendor is to deliver a huge set of integrations on this workspace, and you're selecting the ones you want, turning them on, putting in the parameters, and then that's exposed to your users and your analysts so that you can leverage that integration in a simple way. Okay, so I think this is a big first step, and we're really excited about both the BOMGAR integration and also this new integrations workspace. Next is a Salesforce integration. So this is going to come out after the actual Ivory release, so it won't be released at the same time. It's a separate piece of functionality that we will release separately. But the goal from a Salesforce perspective, we've heard many of our customers have a similar use case, that your salespeople are working with your customers, and that salesperson needs to understand what's going on from a support perspective with that customer. So this is typically an MSP use case, or if you're working with external organizations. So if I'm a salesperson and I'm calling on my account tomorrow, customer ABC, and before I call on customer ABC from Salesforce, where I live every day, as a salesperson, that's my life is inside Salesforce. When I go to that account page, I want to see all, recent and currently open tickets for that customer. So when I pick up the phone and call them, then I'm prepared for that call. So I want to understand, am I walking into a bad situation? Do I need to call on my support team and say, hey, could you guys work on these cloud service management tickets before I have the phone call with the customer? Or you can see that, oh, you know what, they had some issues recently, they were resolved, but I want to be prepared to have that discussion with the customer. So that's really important, is really giving your sales team visibility into your support system and your service management solution without having them to have to actually go and log into the tool. So they'll see, the account screen will have a section for cloud service management tickets. They'll see the ticket number, they'll see the status, who's assigned to that ticket, the priority of that ticket, and also a link to go directly into cloud service management if they needed to. The other piece of that integration is allowing the sales and marketing team to actually create a ticket from the account page in Salesforce. And this is really important because it's all about customer experience. So if I'm the salesperson and I'm talking to the customer and they're complaining about, oh, this person doesn't have access to the support system, to cloud service management to open up a ticket, well, let me open up a ticket on their behalf. Let's sort of go the extra mile for the customer rather than just saying, hey, open up a ticket, and good luck. Let's open it up on their behalf, get the process started, communicate the ticket number to the customer and say, let me handhold you and get you moving down the process and make sure the right team is involved. So these are our two use cases. We have several others that we want to add to Salesforce in the future, but we see this as an important integration point for our teams both internally at Serviceaide as well as our customers as well. Okay. Next is viewing closed tickets in Ticket Center. So this is actually the second most requested item on the community as far as ideas go. And this is really just adjusting what analysts can see in Ticket Center. So Ticket Center today is supposed to be focused, well, today it's focused on what's active. What does the analyst need to work on? Once it's closed, it goes out of that view. They can find it through search and other ways. But really, customers want to have the flexibility to have closed tickets in that view as well. Maybe it's closed, but the technician still needs to follow up on it, or technician just needs to be aware of what's going on and make sure it doesn't reopen. So there is a new configuration parameter called Days to Show Closed Tickets in Ticket Center, and this essentially is very similar to the another parameter we have for self-service. So it's almost exactly the same as that, but it's now in Ticket Center for analysts instead of the Service Center for self-service users. So if you set it to 0, what will happen out of the box, meaning there's no change to how your analysts are working on tickets today. If you set it to 1 through 60, you'll see closed tickets and be able to filter on closed tickets for that many days. Certainly you don't want to have closed tickets there forever, because then your Ticket Center and your queue will just be massive. But a setting of 1 to 60 of how many days worth of closed tickets you want to show. So you can set that and then immediately go back to Ticket Center, and you'll see the closed option show up in the ticket status, and you can have your own filters set up for that and be able to see those types of tickets. Okay. All right. Next, a couple other configuration parameters were added. And one thing I always recommend after a new release is go to configuration parameters, sort on the ID, and if you do a reverse sort and the highest number ID first, you'll see all of the recent configuration parameters. It's a really helpful way to make sure you haven't missed anything over the recent releases, because there's a lot of configuration parameters that can be helpful to your organization. So we added 2. The first one, disabling SLA info for self-service users. This configuration parameter will hide all all SLA-related information from the self-service interface. So this came from several customers who use service levels internally, but they don't want to expose those service levels to their end customers. So it's something that they use to track internal metrics, and they don't want to expose that level of detail to their self-service users, their customers. So you can hide that. It hides it from the ticket detail. It hides it from the ticket list, and also on exports of the ticket list as well. The next one is on disabling automation. So the automations, from the navigation menu, you see workspaces, automation center. That's hiding those components. Some customers don't use them, and it's always helpful to not clutter up the interface if you're not using certain components. So you can also hide automation in Automation Center there. A couple of other smaller additional items. We did have an item related to improving the way service feedbacks, or really our surveys, work. If you're clicking on a link in a communication template to go to a service feedback, essentially right now you go to the outstanding items workspace, and service feedback is far down the list. So oftentimes users would get confused, couldn't find it, or have to scroll, and that would just slow them down or encourage them not to fill out the feedback at all. So now if you now click on a link in that communication to a direct link to service feedback, we will take you to the outstanding, and essentially a modified outstanding items workspace with just the service feedback right on top. So the user is focused, and the user is focused just on that service feedback, and that service feedback is opened, and they can easily start filling out that survey. Next is enhancements to how assigned group works. There's kind of a lot of different corner cases for when people are updating a ticket or resolving a ticket, and they were either not in any group or not in the group that the ticket was currently assigned to. So a couple of weird cases that cause confusion and cause problems in reporting. So we've cleaned that up and really improved the way assigned updating tickets in that assigned group in the workflow history is handled as well. The next item, which is a huge improvement, is improving the time it will take for us to upgrade the environment. So when we do this release, with a lot of the architecture improvements, a lot of the infrastructure improvements that we've made in the new data center using much faster and more modern hardware, as well as improving the general architecture of the application, you will see a drastically improved upgrade time. So we haven't finalized the exact maintenance window and downtime for this upgrade, but the intent is for the total maintenance window to be about the same as it has been in previous releases, so about 4 hours of total maintenance time. But the actual downtime for each customer environment will drastically come down. So we'll be rolling out the upgrade across customers, and it'll be rolling across customers. So it's not taking down the whole system, upgrading everybody at once. It'll be upgrading, several customers at the same time. So what that'll mean from an actual, downtime for each customer organization is that their environment, will be down for somewhere between like 15 minutes to 45 minutes. And we'll be finalizing these times in the coming weeks. But that's the type of outage that you'll see when we do an upgrade. The total window will still probably be about 4 hours because it'll take us a similar time to move through all customers. But the actual outage time for each customer will be drastically reduced, and I think that'll improve the whole processing experience for you as a customer. Next on defect fixes, so there's about 40 defects, give or take. We'll be finalizing that exact number as the team is fixing a few more right now. That came from customers that will be rolling out along with this release. So these are patches or bug fixes that'll go into this release as well. Several customers had reported problems with the action menu. Sometimes when you scroll, it would stay fixed or it would close automatically. There's a couple of those items that are coming in that I know customers have specifically mentioned. Next on the timeline for this release. So the timeline is to roll out into staging on June 5th, the week of June 5th. We usually try to do a Monday or Tuesday rollout to staging. So that'll be both staging environments, CSM1 staging and CSM2 staging. And then into production on the CSM2 environment targeting June 10th, and then all the other environments, so CSM1 and 3 and other environments, on June 17th. So that's the targets we have now, so we want to make sure we give our customers plenty of notice to start planning around that and any change management or change control that you need to have based on that. Okay. I'll pause real quick. There was one question on how is the configuration parameter disable SLA info for SSU different from the one that is already there in the current release. So it is there in the current release. It was released as an interim patch, as essentially a new feature in between releases. It was not announced as part of Goldfish, and that's why we're essentially announcing it now. But it is available right now today if you wanted to use that feature. Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll now move into a demonstration of the bomb guard functionality, so you can see the remote control and how the process works. I'll be taking sort of the role of a self-service user. Prasanna's on the other end, and he's going to be a technician. It's very difficult to show both at the same time, so we're going to show my end and then show essentially video of what's captured in the activity log of what essentially the analyst would see from their end as they're taking control of my device. Okay, so let me share my screen here. Okay, so let me just refresh here. So I am in one of our test instances here, and so I'm going to go into Service Center. So I'm a self-service user in this use case, and I am going to my open ticket. So I'm having problems syncing email and problem with my calendar. So essentially, the ticket looks exactly the same as it does today, but I do have this button that appears, Start a Bomb Guard Chat. And when I click on this, that's initiating, essentially putting me in a queue. I'll click that, putting me in a queue for a chat session. So let me put in my name. So I'm now in a queue, the chat session. So Baumgar handles on their end, of course, routing me to an available technician or any round robin or all of that from a queue perspective. And I see I was in position 1, and now I'm chatting with the platform admin. So, okay. So I'm having a problem with my Outlook calendar. And from this chat session, all of this is being recorded through Baumgar and then shared with the ticket once the session ends. But what can happen next is, and the technician could say, hey, let me take control of your screen. Let me see what's going on and help you with that. So what you'll see next is this request here. So it's requesting to elevate full remote support. And so, yes, I'm going to accept this. And now it's going to download a specific install file for this session. So even if I've had a session, you know, half hour ago yesterday, it's going to download a specific session for this. And there's a lot of good security reasons behind this, and that's one of the big things with Baumgar is high security for lots of different use cases. So I'm going to open up the install file, install it on my machine, and you notice immediately the connection is beginning. So this connection with Prasanna on the other end. So Prasanna is now connecting to my machine, and we're establishing this connection. Excuse me. So you can see here the message here from Prasanna. He's requesting to view and control my machine. I can obviously refuse it here. I'm going to allow it, and that will give Prasanna control of my machine. So if you can go and open my Outlook calendar there. And so let's say Prasanna then goes in and you know, is checking and taking a look at my calendar and fixing any items here and enabling my calendar from here. So as you can see, I got a lot of my calendar right now. So at any point, I could take back control of the mouse. Prasanna is controlling at this point. And then, you know, if things are working well, you know, okay. Whoops, I'm trying to take control. If I spelled wrong. So at any point, you know, I can stop this session. So the big red X there, I'm stopping the session, and Prasanna no longer has the ability to control my machine. Same thing from Prasanna's side. He can stop the session at any point and essentially leave this remote sharing session. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and end this session. So I'm clicking this red X here. So it lets me know that all activity has been stopped. My session has ended. You know, your computer can no longer be accessed or controlled. And I'm given a brief survey here, and I'll just say, yes, it was great, and end that session. So what happens in the background right now is that on this ticket, a link is being done from the different session activities and the different recordings on this remote control session back to the actual ticket. So if I go down to the activity history here, and I'm going to refresh, we're still working on getting the refresh connection to be a little faster, but essentially here's what you're going to see. You're going to see the chat URL. You're going to be able to download that chat transcript. And what I think is most helpful is this remote session video. So the remote session video, and you can see as I pop up on my screen, is that remote control sharing session. So this is a video that shows the chat that was back and forth. It can show, you know, taking control of my screen and what happens on the screen there, so you get a good idea of what's going on there. Okay. So this is a really powerful tool and a great integration to be able to handle remote support, and ultimately the goal of having you know, better information and resolving tickets faster is really what we're looking for there. Okay. And then from the analyst side, the analyst can trigger. The analyst will have a similar button on their screen. So again, I'm a self-service user, so from the analyst perspective, they're going to have a similar button here on the screen, and that's going to generate an email to the customer, so they can just click on the link in an email and start that session. Okay. So I'm going to jump back into the presentation. So that was the core feature of BOMGAR we want to demonstrate in that integration point from remote control. So in the last probably next 10 minutes, I'll spend on the roadmap to give some perspective to the customer base on what's coming really for the rest of the calendar year. Okay. So from a release cadence perspective, just sort of looking backwards first, if we go all the way back to July 2015 and had Elephant and then Firefly in October and Goldfish in January, and Horseshoe, which is really what we codenamed that migration to the new data center, which ended at the end of March. We finished that integration. And then releasing the mobile app, the new mobile app in March, and then this Ivory release, which will be released in June in the next few weeks. The next two releases for the rest of the calendar year, what we're calling Jasmine in August, and then Key in November. Again, we use lucky symbols in alphabetical order. They really don't have much of a long shelf life, so that's what we're focused on there. Mobile app, talking about that, the mobile app, we will continue to release about every 2 to 3 weeks. So some releases will take a little bit longer, but the goal is when we're focused on developing new use cases and new scenarios, and as we finish those scenarios, we're going to publish them immediately in the mobile app. So you'll see a lot more frequent updates to the mobile app than you would the core web app. So I think it's important to understand, who we are from a Serviceaide perspective and what that really means for the roadmap. We really want to be what we call sort of a value leader in IT service management. So we want to provide very low total cost of ownership, be easy to get up and running on, not require a lot of administration to use the tool, and provide the capabilities you need to do service desk and service management. The way we want to really differentiate and provide unique value to our customers is machine learning and big data intelligence. So that's when we talk about a lot of the new stuff coming later this year. It's a lot focused on machine learning and unique use cases to really machine learning just being used as a tool to make service management better, to make mean time to resolution faster. That's what it really is. So the three core things that we're focused on for this calendar year, for the rest of the calendar year, is first is really innovate by creating what we call intelligent IT service management, which is all focused on that using machine learning to reduce mean time to resolution. So making the analysts faster and getting the information they need, looking at historical data, and resolving that ticket faster. And there's lots of ways we're going to be attacking that by improving the information that's in tickets, as well as giving recommendations and predicting different things on a ticket as well. So some really exciting functionality coming later this year on that. Next is building an industry-leading analyst experience on mobile. And if you talk to me in different conversations, really the goal we have for our team working on mobile is to put the web interface out of business. Now that's sort of tongue-in-cheek, but the goal is to really make that mobile app so easy to use, so fast, really do mobile-specific capabilities that for many use cases, you prefer to use the mobile app than the web interface. So obviously for level 1 analysts that are sitting at a desk, a keyboard's always going to be faster than typing with your hands, but we want to push the team to really focus on creating something unique and that's specific to mobile. And last is what we call hyperconnectivity. So if you've been to our website lately, you've seen us talk about what we call hyper SaaS and hyperconnectivity, which is hyperconnectivity is really creating an integration hub, creating cloud service management to be an integration hub. So BOMGAR is one of many integrations that we'll be adding this year. And we know from talking to tons of our existing customers as well as prospects and recent conferences that everybody has tons of SaaS tools, tons of enterprise tools, and the service management team often has to connect these different tools or jump between them. So we want to be able to trigger integrations, trigger events that start in service management and connect to other systems, and start in other systems and connect to service management. So that's one of the big things we're working on, which is a huge set of new functionality that will be coming out later this year. So from the mobile app roadmap, again, focused on really creating a unique experience built for mobile, where we're using gestures, we're using the GPS, we're using the camera, we're using voice to do things that you can't do on the web interface through, a standard laptop. So a couple of things that we're working on and looking at, is being able to tap to call a user, or call the service desk, which is available in the old mobile app. But one of the other things is switching between profiles. So this is important. I've talked to several organizations that say, well, I use the mobile app to connect to my production system, but I also want to connect to staging. And now I have to log out, connect to a different URL, enter different credentials, and then when I want to go back to production, I have to do the same thing again. So what we'll be supporting is the ability to have multiple profiles in the mobile app and switch between them fairly easily. So you could have a profile for your production system, you could have one for staging, you could have one for us as your support vendor. So if you want to manage your own support tickets and deal with them in mobile rather than having to log into another web interface. So I think that'll be a nice improvement for users, especially for many of our MSP customers that have multiple environments or deal with several different customers that have their own instances of cloud service management. Also opening URLs directly in the mobile app. I think this is expected. If you're on your mobile device, open up an email and click on a link that will go directly to the mobile app. It's a more dedicated experience, and of course you have your login credentials there. Push notifications, being able to also personalize your ticket list. So if you, don't care about the priority field, but you care about the urgency field, allowing you to customize that ticket list screen based on your own needs. Also leveraging gestures, using the camera as a barcode reader, enabling chat, from a self-service to an analyst use case, and then also metrics on the mobile app, so being able to see some simple reports and dashboards directly on the mobile app without having to go into the full web interface. So a lot there, and I think the team is very excited about where we want to go, and certainly love to hear your feedback. Okay. So I mentioned hyperconnectivity. So on the sort of integration hub roadmap, we really want to make cloud service management that connected hub for service fulfillment. So we'll be working on building an integration architecture that will support hundreds of different IT and different business tools, and a couple of the different things that are coming later this year is we'll be publishing a REST API for integration with cloud service management. We use the REST API under the covers, and we have been for many years. It's just not publicly available, so we're publishing that as well as adding documentation with that. And then also adding an integration bus, so being able to much more easily connect to different tools and have a lot of predefined integrations and connectors, and then having an improved automation engine, so being able to do better e-bonding, so that if you have an integration with, BMC Remedy, that you can then trigger off events or trigger and do different things in BMC Remedy, or in an automation tool in Salesforce, and Active Directory, or different tools, SharePoint, based on this integration architecture. So a lot to come there, and I think this will add up a huge amount of value for allowing you to connect to other systems. So I'll pause there. I know I was talking very quick because I want to cover all this information today. I think sort of in summary, and then we'll go through questions. I see there's been a couple questions on there. But I think in summary, the Ivory release is targeted for production on June 10th and June 17th, depending on which environment you're in. And we will target rolling out staging the week of June 5th. So pencil those dates in on your calendars, or put those in on your calendars. Community notifications, the updated wiki, as well as formal communications through the notification system will come out in the coming weeks on that. Next, multiple mobile app releases coming. So we should have a new mobile app release published to the app stores, and by the end of this week, with role-based views and some other bug fixes. and then the self-service functionality will come in June, and then a lot more planned for the rest of the year. And then the machine learning release, I think is something very exciting. So it'll be something coming later this year to add a lot of new capabilities and functionalities for service management. So let me look at, so there's a couple questions that came in here sent directly to me. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to ask them and just post them to everyone so anyone on the Serviceaide team can answer those. So one of the questions, can the chat session be launched only in context of a ticket, or can it be used as a standalone chat link somewhere in the application? It is designed to be specific to the context of a ticket, and that really is all about linking the information and storing that information in the ticket. So if an end user already has a ticket open and the analyst is working on it, the analyst can chat with the end user, or the reverse, the end user can launch it. But it does require context of a ticket to start that session. Okay. And if anyone has a question on the phone, you're more than welcome to ask on the phone. You do need to unmute your line. You should see a red microphone next to your name or on the bottom right-hand corner where you can unmute yourself. So there's one question on enhanced knowledge articles. So this is something that is on the roadmap to add a rich text support, so being able to have, images, bulleted lists, bold, numbered lists, all within the solution section or resolution section on the knowledge article, as well as being able to support HTML code like a YouTube embed link. So that's something we're working on now. The target is for an upcoming release on that. It's not available in Ivory, but the intent is after Ivory. Okay. Other questions? Okay. Well, what I'll do now is I'll stop the recording. Myself and Prasanna will hang around WebEx. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask them on WebEx, and we'll answer them there. But we'll go ahead and stop the recording, and people can go on and run to their next meeting. So thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time. It's always good to present and talk to our customers. And if you do have any questions, feel free to hang around WebEx, or as always, reach out to me directly, rich.graves@serviceaide.com. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.